Hey guys, this is IntroducingEmy and we're back with another Redline Tuesday. This one's by Markus with a K, but they didn't send me like a link or any contact information. I don't know this comic, so thank you, Markus. You feel free to comment and with your information if you want to. If not, you can remain private and quiet and everything. Let me try to back out a little bit here so you can see the whole thing. Okay, so this is the comic we're doing. Now, just because of how big this is, I'm not going to go over like every little thing, but I'm going to try to hit every panel that I can. Also, if you want me to redline a comic, please send it with at least the balloons in place for the dialogue. I really don't know what's going on here. I mean, I can kind of pantomime it. Unless I just had the thought that maybe this comic doesn't have dialogue. I don't know. So there's some places like here and here, like it looks like there's supposed to be balloons, so I was a little confused, like here. I don't know. I'm sorry. Alright, so first of all, so this panel looks good, the way it's set up. This panel looks good. You always want to go for the more cinematic approach. Like you don't want to have panels that look the same. Like these two I'm going to quote unquote fix. I hate to use that word, but so this looks good. What's nice about this one is you get to see like the whole room. You know where they're sitting now, and this fire looks like especially these logs are shaded really nicely. So then here, we've already seen their whole bodies. We don't need to see it again. So what I would recommend doing is taking this part. I'm trying to sort of eyeball. How much of this I can take. Yeah, so I can take way more than that. Hold on. Oops. Okay, select, transform selection. So I would try to go for something more like this. And then maybe for this panel, you might want to... Nah, I think this is okay, but again, I would recommend changing it so it's not quite the same angle as this, because these two panels here, especially with this kind of like 3:4 ratio or for frame size, it really reads like a storyboard, and that is something I'm really torn on telling people how to do their comics, but that's something I try to steer away from. That's something I used to do back in the day. It would just be like bump, 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 bump. Like it would all kind of look like the same, but just with like different dialogue and slightly different expressions, which is kind of like a storyboarder thing. So yeah, let's see here what we can do with this one. I think maybe turning it a little bit so you can see more of his body, because right now it sort of looks like his shoulders are coming out of his torso, or well, I know that's where the shoulders come from, but I mean like out of his like pelvisy torso region. So yeah, I would say totally turn this one, which I'm gonna have to draw over it. So let's just get like a little bit of a thing going here. Don't worry, I have an original saved so we can compare at the end, if you were concerned about that. Trying to find a color that'll... There we go. Okay. Oh no, where am I? Oh, wrong brush set. Hold on. Yeah, so like what I would do here is I'm not really liking what I'm doing actually. Comics are tough. Alright, I would say leave this, but again, you would have to make sure that you... Let me see what it looks like. I would say come in closer, make sure you don't catch this pole like right on the edge of your frame because it'll look like a double panel or something weird like that. So so this is like a slightly different angle, at least you could argue that. Where's that fire at? I want that fire. Oops. So I would say leave the fire somehow or like a glow from the fire in this panel. Just be careful on how you do it. Like make sure that it's like blurred out or something because right now it kind of looks like her ass is on fire or his ass is on fire. I don't know if this is a girl or a boy. But yeah, what you might have to do is I'll paint over it. I think you need to put the fire bigger in the foreground, like here. It would definitely help separate these as being two different angles. Also, be careful on how knobby you make their knees because, especially if the knobs aren't like in proportion to each other, it can look really strange. And also, like overly knobby knees are kind of like, especially with like more than one character having them in the same shot, it comes off as sort of like lacking skill in drawing knees because like super knobby knees like this are usually the trademark of like older people, especially in illustration. Like when you have simplified characters, you have to be really careful like what sort of traits you give them in appearance because there's sort of like benchmarks for like the way things should look. That is just how we're raised, you know, like with Disney and cartoons and stuff. So like if you put like a bunch of wrinkles on his face, he would look older, you know, because it's just like we know that lines on the face mean that. But and also I was noticing up here their knees don't look quite that way, so just be careful when you do that. It's not like, you know, oh my god, end of comic, but so yeah, I would recommend changing. Whew, that vibrates. I think we might need to have a little child drawing tutorial. I feel a slight struggle happening with how to draw children. But yeah, I would change the angle in this panel. I notice it kind of is a little different because the bed is sort of going at a slope. Also, I'm kind of going against my own way of how I work on comics, which is I do not work on the panels in the page. Like, I'm sure that I'm breaking some kind of comicking rule, but I can't like work on stuff seeing other panels around. So what I would recommend doing is taking this. I sound like I'm frustrated with you. I'm not. I swear I'm not. Take this. Say copy. Go new. Let's make this really like a lot bigger. A little too big. So this way what you have is you have a nice big canvas to work on your stuff. Copy that, put that on there. Smoosh. Copy layer style, paste layer style. Take line art, put the line art on there. Okay, so then what you can do now is you can work on this without feeling like you're bumping into things. So like for instance, this feels like you shrunk him to try to like fit him all up in here. Up in this his house. It sounded weird the way I said that, but so what we're gonna do is also, by the way, I notice he doesn't really have like genitals, even though you can sort of see up his skirt. You might want to think about that. Or at least you might want to drape his tunic. I notice he does have some kind of like a tunicky thing. You might want to sort of do some drapage there if you don't want that to be like the focus. In fact, in this panel here, you might not even be able to. So here's another tip. I feel like I'm kind of chewing into you and I don't like want it to come off like that. I always worry that like when I give critiques I'm really mean or something, but try not to ever show your character like straight on. I noticed that's a big thing in manga is you see characters like straight on a lot. And it seems to look okay for manga, but I noticed more like Western designed characters don't seem to be able to hold the front on facial thing as easily. So I would recommend not doing that if at all possible. And that will help you also get more creative in your panel layouts. This is an interesting style because they're drawn like more, like their bodies are drawn more like traditionally, but their faces have more of like a, I'm trying to think of like something that's similar, like kind of like a newspaper comic, like a Calvin and Hobbes or a For Better or Worse kind of face, like where it's just that like the eye. Make sure that you have a lid or something above, otherwise her eyes kind of look a little dead or they're just going in random directions. This line here helps aim this eye down. So like, yeah, that looks good. I think that looks good. I don't normally draw in this kind of a style. Also not quite sure what kind of a hat that is. Can I see it from a different angle? No. Well, anyway. So he's got this sword, and I'm not redlining this quite as thoroughly as I normally would because I want to go over the other panels and the lighting and some other stuff. So he's got this sword in his hands. Okay. Also be careful that you're drawing your pupils the same size. This is probably like the #1 pet peeve of a lot of artists. Like, whenever I hear artists like bitching on somebody else's work, it's always like the size of the pupils. They're like, damn man, you look high. How hard is it to draw two circles the same size? I'm not saying that about you. Don't worry, I'm not saying that about you. But it's like something that after it's pointed out, it really should, you know, do that thing. Okay. So I would recommend making this character larger here. Because I think he's supposed to be. And then moving them down a little bit. And I think that's nice because here now you have this nice pause above their head where you have like an empty space. So it takes a minute for the reader to sort of like go meep and come down to her, which I think is nice. I don't know. It's my opinion. And also it gets rid of like some uncomfortable groinage at the bottom of the frame, which you don't want to be the focus anyway. Yeah, I like that. So then what I usually do is sometimes I'll do lines there, or like a lot of times I'll just sort of go in, delete that. Let's make my lines a little thicker. And then I just move it back into place like that when I'm ready to go ink. Oh, you know, another thing you could do here. Every time I come back to this, it just doesn't feel quite as light as I left it. Right there. Another thing you could do is have her, like, hand coming up. Like she's... like maybe even like a fist here, or like... just to change the pose a little bit, like she's already like getting ready to reach for it, like she has to hold herself back, like, oh, I want that sword, you know? Something to that regard. Also, I was thinking, I was gonna say, be careful how the sword overlaps her, but it doesn't look like that's too huge of an issue. I'm also noticing these walls are pretty textureless. You might want to add something in there, or have their shadows cast a lot more dramatically on the wall behind them. Because right now they're kind of just like floating. Okay, so then this is interesting. I never realized this, her nose, like her whole head looks totally different between these two panels. I'm not sure which one you want. Wait, does she have a mole too that I didn't even, is that a like a beauty mark? Oh no, that's from like her smiling. Don't worry, I used to have a lot of issues keeping characters like on model. I think I've said this before, but I remember I had like a mental breakdown one day. I was laying in bed just sobbing when my husband came home from work, and I was like, I can't do it. I can't make them look the same for like 2 friggin' panels. Of course, I was going through some other shit at the time, so it wasn't really about the drawing, but that was just like one more thing to put on the pile, you know, of like miseries of that day. Now I know I'm breaking my own cardinal sin here. I'm just like drawing in the panel, like on the page. So I think I might have to do like a how to draw children tutorial, because I'm noticing some slight struggles on proportion and things like that. Children are actually pretty easy and fun to draw. I've purposely started adding a lot more kids to comics I'm writing, just so I can draw more kids. Which is probably like the worst reason to add something to your comic. I just wanted to draw it, so I added it. I wanted an elephant. I wanted to draw an elephant, So I added an elephant to my scuba mystery. He's drawn really consistently, though. I like him. I like that this nose. I might have to take this nose from you. I'm stealing it. And if anybody asks, I stole it. So, like, here, he's a good size to her. I think you might just need to move him up, like, this whole... Because he's, again, kind of like... I get what he's trying to do. He's sort of trying to be like, meh, it's mine, you know. Oh, man, I'm gonna sneeze. Oh, gosh. Oh, my goodness. Okay, I'm awake. How about that? I would also maybe tilt this. I'm not even editing that out. Nope, I'm not going to edit that sneeze out. I would also tilt this sword slightly away from her to show movement between this panel where he's like admiring it and this panel where there's now a struggle. So like the sword is straight and calm here because they're both like, ah, you know, and then here it's at an angle because now shit's going down over the sword. So yeah, I would definitely, again, I'm sorry that I'm just sort of drawing like little mittens for their hands and things like that. I would also maybe have him a little more like possessively have his arm out in front, like with maybe like a hand, like his arm coming out like this, like he's sort of trying to shoulder her away from this. And then the other hand can be there, still like holding up that side. But yeah, you definitely like want to move this whole rigmarole up a little higher. Yeah, so move up. You'll see this in all my notes, or MO, move over. Okay, so that looks good. And this looks good too. This is actually, I think, one of the strongest panels on this page. His thumb would actually be down here. But yeah, I definitely think this is like... This is a really good panel. I like this one. Like everything looks nice. Again, I know she has her head straight forward, and especially like right under this panel is kind of a strange like rhythmic thing here going on, but I don't know, I kind of like it with her. Like it seems more fitting for a child character that she would be like sort of symmetrical and cute and everything. Also, she has a gap in her teeth, and so the gap rules all. I would say this hand looks better than this hand just for the fact that it's lacking detail, but the proportions are really nice. And I actually think it's good that it's lacking detail because this you start getting into like creepy baby hand territory where you put too many lines on the hand. There's some like minimal whatchamacallit, anatomy things that you're gonna have to like kind of clean up a little bit. But yeah, this hand's definitely good. Probably didn't even really make this much better. You might even want to actually show her gripping the side of the sword. Well, a lot of times what I'll do, and this is probably not what you're supposed to do, is I'll draw the hands first. And then, so then I know, okay, so this is the edge that she's gripping. It's going to be going like that. And that way I can, like, figure out the sword position a little differently. I don't want to say better, because it might not be the best way to do it. But, I don't know. I always find that I'd rather place the hands and the body parts and everything over the props. Meaning, like, I don't want to have this amazing prop drawing and then, like, a shitty human wrapped around it, you know? Not calling your work shitty. I'm always like, please don't think that I'm mad at you. Mommy's not mad. Just go sit in the corner. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, like, I'd rather have, like, a really nice looking person wrapped around a crappy prop than vice versa, because a prop isn't going to carry your story. Your people are, or like, unless it's like Toy Story, then you're like in a total conundrum. Somebody's got to look shitty. No. Oh, and another little thing I noticed up here was just her back is kind of like hunched, or his. I'm not sure if this is a female or male character, but her hands look really, like, she's really, I keep saying she, so I apologize if this is actually a male character. She just needs to overall be a little bit longer, I think. And just move the bucket down here a little more, so it's, like, in line with her feet, you know, to make sure that she's standing over it. But it's kind of interesting, you drew her arms and hands, like, this front part here, this, like, head arm area is drawn so well, but this is kind of not so great. What I recommend is if you ever have problems with an area like this, just like roughly select it, take it over into your new file, make it really big, and then just draw over it, and then just shrink it back down or whatever, you know? Whatever. Okay, so now that I've redlined it, I'm just gonna put some of my, like, feelings about the lighting in, and then I think I'm gonna call it Dunsies on this. Also, I'm sorry, I'm like sniffing all up in here. I'm quite sniffy today for some reason. So all I'm doing here is I made a new layer above the comic, and I'm going to set this to overlay. I just put some yellow in there. So this is actually good what you have going on here. You're using, you already had yellow and purple together, which is fantastic because those colors are opposite each other on the color wheel. So they look really good together. I'm just going to put some white down here where it's going to be the most intense. Give me a hard brush. Okay, and then I would say just bounce your colors up even more. This is something that I've been working on too, is, oops, that's not what I wanted. I wanted like that. Maybe not that purple. Let's try a little different. Sorry, I'm kind of like going between my palette and so yeah, I know that looks a little pinkish, but try to get something of a purple going in here, because it just, trust me, it looks really nice against the fire. I'm kind of like mixing two colors to try to see if I can get something where it looks good. But yeah, so try to get it as like warm as you possibly can. Also, don't forget that this is like a very powerful light source in this room. So let's try a brown, see what that looks like. Make sure that their shadows are like very there on the wall. It'll also help like set them back a little bit from some of the stuff on the wall and everything. You might also want to like add some texture, just some like hatching or something. That's up to you. Let me add some backlighting. This is something I kind of been forgetting to do lately, which is like backlighting or reflected light. Reflected light is that there's nothing really, like there's no light source. It's just light bouncing off of like an it's usually like a, it can be any color, but like in a setting like this, in a darker setting, it's usually kind of a bluish purple color. So if you can see that faint blue right there, that would be your reflected light. And then backlighting is when there's like a second light source, like over here, like shining on the back of them, like that, which there isn't, so don't do that. So here we're just gonna kind of try to do that. We're gonna try to like get our palette to sort of match that one. Ooh, so I just had like a really good idea. It's a good idea. Let's put like a reflection, or like a, like right on the point of that knife. Just like I need to go into a new layer to do it. Yeah, just to like show how like sharp that knife is. I wish I could get this like lighter over here, and I'm not having any luck. Okay, what color is that? Let's go like this, see if This is more to my taste. Okay, it is in an eye-popping way. Sorry, I am just like selecting everything very, very roughly. It's no big deal. Don't worry about it. Calm down. I don't like it. Nope. Nope. I don't know what I'm... Holy crap. Well, that actually... Right. Yeah, look at that. I like that. I think that's, that says good things are happening. And then I'm going to actually go in here, and I'm going to say contiguous, and I'm going to... What? What is going on here? This is weird. Mom, I'm confused. Oh, that was inverted. That's why it was being goofy. Ah, sorry. My bad. Okay, and then down here, I'm gonna go with like a really dark color so that his body pops more, and then here. Now, I know this looks complicated, but I'm basically bouncing back and forth between like 2 or 3 layers, just sort of changing things, and don't worry, it's not that complicated. No, I want like that. So I'm just kind of trying to fade his legs back a little bit. Just because they are like in the background. Okay. So there's that panel. And then basically same lighting for these as well. You want some kind of like a really loud pop down here because this is the side that the fire is on. And then you want like a dark purple or maroon. Yeah, I think like you need some like sparks and stuff to imply that fire is still in front of them here, or some kind of like a glow. I'm not doing like a very good job at it, but something. It looks okay like in my navigator, but it doesn't look as great like up close. And then don't forget your reflected light, which is going to be not that. Not that either. It's most likely going to be like a bluish purple. I don't have a very good purple on my bar right now though, like in my palette window, so do I have a pink that would look okay? That looks a little better. Not really though. Nope, that looks pretty bad. And then behind them, you're going to want to put a pretty dramatic shadow. Same with, especially with him, like his is almost going to have to be black because he's just not, it's so much more darker behind him. So, one last time, actually two last times here, and then we'll basically be done. I'm having a good time, like, playing around with the lighting and everything. I hope you're enjoying the adventure. We're almost at an hour. Oh, goodness, I should have stopped the video at some point. I'm going to try going for, like, a red and then just fade off into yellows over here for my overlays. See if I can kind of... I think I'm going to have to paint this. So what I was thinking you could do for here is that what you would need to do is make sure that this is like a little bigger. Sorry, I like how I draw fires. It's kind of goofy. Alright, let's like throw some sparks in here. Don't worry, I'll erase some. Okay, and then outer glow. I hate when it does that to me. It kind of like lags and then doesn't show me what it's actually going to look like. And we're just going to filter. I'm going to blur this. I'm going to blur this more. Number one rule of art, if your stuff looks crappy, blur the hell out of it. Ooh, now it looks so regal and true and everything. And you can barely see any of my sparks. I'm going to cry. Okay, so... Fine, I'll just draw the sparks in. You can all touch my butt. So yeah, I would do something like that. And then down here, same dealy-o. You want these colors to be really, really dramatic, especially now that she has the sword. She's like, bam, I've got it. Let's do... Where's my overlay layer? There. Huh. So, if any of you are still watching this video at this point while I'm just pissing around, if you have, and I'll put this in the description too, if any of you have an adult character that you can send me quickly, like within today of this video going up, actually I might put this up, you might be getting this message a day earlier than this video, that I can use to do a child tutorial, especially like a character that's just like standing there. That'd be great. I don't know if I have anything like that on me right this minute, so it would kind of be like an impromptu Redline Tuesday with like somebody else's art. I'm having too much fun. You're gonna have to stop me. I just love like making everything really bright and colorful and stuff. No, Emmy, stop! Stop! Sucking the life out of it. Yeah, I used to suffer from like making my work too drab. And then I discovered making a new layer and putting like overlay stuff on it was the most amazing thing ever. So I'm assuming this is where the fire is, so I'm gonna just put a little glow for it in there. Looks like a ghost. I'm scared. I don't want it like that. I would like a blue, please. And then a green. So your sky was a little too dark to be off in the distance. It's okay. I came in and dealt with it. With the fist of an angry god. There. I like it. Just put some punches of green. Maybe some brown here. I like their homes. They're like hobbity holes. That's probably my favorite thing about Lord of the Rings is the hobbity holes. I would like a movie that just spends all its time pissing around in the Shire. Just so I can be like, ooh, look at the cute houses. I want one. I want my own hobbity hole. There. Okay, sorry, I'm playing now. I need to stop. I gotta get this video up. But, let us... Okay, so that's just the redline information, but... Let us compare and contrast. I think we got some stuff happening here now. I think we got some world conquering about to start up in Sha. Oh, yeah, use this fire here. Just take this and put this here, because this looks great. I love this, like, whoosh, like that. Girl, I like this. I'm pretty sure you're a boy, but girl, I want this. I really like this drawing style. I really like this color palette with the yellows, the orange, and the purples. It's so sexy. I want it. And I'm stretching. Okay, well, that will be that. And I got to record another episode, so I'll see you guys later. Bye.